Bhakti Recovery Group is an all-inclusive, 12-step, Bhakti-oriented fellowship that brings together people who share their experience, strength and hope as it relates to finding freedom from various addictions and associated behaviours. The only requirement for membership is a desire for recovery. Our primary purpose is to stay in the process of recovery through the 12 steps and the practice of Bhakti Yoga, carrying this message in loving service to others who are struggling with their addictions and associated behaviours. The Bhakti Recovery Group leads the way into a newfound life. These 12 steps are the foundation of our programme. Our experience shows that when we work these steps with a sponsor, come to meetings on a regular basis, and help others who are struggling, we do recover. We ask Krishna to help us fully surrender to him through this programme and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So the 12 steps. 1, we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and associated behaviours, and our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that Krishna, a power greater than ourselves, could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of Krishna as we understand him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to Krishna, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have Krishna remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and where we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer, meditation, and the chanting of the holy names to improve our conscious contact with Krishna, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to those seeking recovery and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So, foundation of the 12-step recovery program is for us to share our minds in confidence with another person, with a peer who's experienced the same problems. So that's how I'd like to spend some of my talk, by sharing my experience in how I came to Bhakti and how I came to the recovery group. So I came to Krishna consciousness through living a lot of suffering and a lot of desperation, and being addicted to substances. Alcohol, for me, was my main one. I found myself stumbling through the door of Hare Krishna program, and I like the idea of the 4 regulations, the no intoxication specifically. And I threw myself headlong into Krishna consciousness and ended up living in an ashram for 1 year. In that time I got sober and did a lot of service. I always felt like there was something in the background that I couldn't quite get rid of. And if anyone knows the story of the Princess and the Pea, it was like that. I would throw service on service on service. But in retrospect, I was throwing service on top of my anarthas or my character defects. And after I left the ashram, then I relapsed back into alcoholism and into materialistic relationships. And the shame of not knowing what was wrong with me kept me from being able to talk to devotees, and I fell into complete isolation. Over time, during lockdown was some of the worst of my drinking, and I spent so long learning from sannyasis and devotees, and I had a lot of information in my head, but the drinking and the addictions, with that I noticed that I was losing that information, and it felt like by the end that all I had in my head was that Prabhupada said to the drunk who can't give up drinking wine, just to think of Krishna in the wine. And I prayed like that for a long time, surrounded by empty beer cans and dirty clothes. having gone from spending time with these Sattvic people to losing it all again. And I felt trapped. And I thought I was the only devotee who struggled with addiction. So I spoke to one of the devotees in my local area and asked him if anyone else had suffered with this. And he referred me to the Bhakti recovery group. That was about 3 years ago. And at that time I was powerless against my addictions. Didn't seem to matter how much I chanted, I couldn't overcome these anatas. So he referred me to the Bhakti recovery group and I started to attend those. And even in attending those meetings I had to lean off the camera to drink whiskey. But going to this and associating with people who had recovered and had been able to honestly deal with those things and come to Bhakti through that, it helped for me to open me up to the idea of the 12-step recovery program. Because before that, I felt like it was the Maha Mantra or nothing. But actually, Prabhupada said we can dovetail anything in Krishna consciousness to service to Krishna consciousness. And I found that to be the case with the 12-step years old now. And we recommend that anyone suffering with active addiction attends groups that they identify with, and then bring that knowledge back to the Bhakti recovery group, which is what I've been doing for the last 2 years. It used to cause me physical pain to be around devotees because of the shame that I was locked into. But I've spent 2 years in AA now learning the 12-step recovery program. And during that time I've become a secretary of one group where I help to lead there. I've become a secretary of another group and I now sponsor young men into sobriety. And now I'm ready to start giving that back to the Bhakti recovery group because we are a young group and we need to learn to grow. We're learning to grow. So now I'm leading 2 groups, Monday and Wednesday nights here in the UK via Zoom. Most of our meetings now are in person on Zoom, and we're hoping one day we can have in-person meetings in the UK. Our recovery group isn't just for substance addictions, it's also for people who struggle with addictions in relationships, or food, or things, shopping. It can be any obsessive behaviour that blocks our connection with Krishna consciousness and blocks our ability to be honest with ourselves, because I was constitutionally unable to be honest with myself, and that's why I couldn't connect with my Maha Mantra properly. But having done these 12 steps, worked with a sponsor, got over my intellectual ego problems of working with people who aren't on the surface look like devotees. That's helped me to build my tolerance over time and helped me to be more honest with my Krishna consciousness and helped me to come back to Bhakti recovery group and hopefully for me to be able to spread the message to others. Because there's so many parallels between the 12-step recovery program and Krishna consciousness, but they're really not separate for me. The 12 steps says that we have to, just like in Krishna consciousness, we can't keep it unless we give it away. So those things really work beautifully for us in the Bhakti recovery group. And we're a growing group now, we have about 300 members. And I think that's about all I have to say. Does anyone have any questions that they want to shout to me? Sorry I'm so nervous, I'm shaking like a leaf. Okay, well, I'll be over on the table in the other room at the back there, just behind the cafe. If anyone has any questions, the spiritual foundation of the 12-step recovery program is anonymity. Rupa Goswami said that a symptom of devotional love between devotees is to share the mind in confidence. And that's the core of what the 12-step program is. For 2 obsessive or addict thinkers to be able to share together in confidence and to know that they're not judged. Thank you for listening to me today. Hare Krishna.